eXp.com. Hey, my name is Brett Swartz. I'm founder of Capital Gains Tax Solutions. I'm also a multifamily eXp commercial broker. And we're just going to dive into some training, do a little bit of role play, and kind of try to teach secrets on all things broker training. So actually closing deals, cold calls, listing appointments, presentations, underwriting, and just kind of general questions. And so we're going to get very tactical on this right away. And if you want to learn more, you go to expmastery.com. That being said, the style of play is going to be actually me and Brent Silverbauer today as we go through this. And we're going to also, and Sierra as well, for those who've been here, basically we kind of review what's been taught from last week, and then further clarify on anything that maybe was done with that actual strategy for the week, and then dive in even more. And so, Brent, here we go. You ready? What is the purpose of the cold call?
Purpose of the cold call is to get either an in-person meeting or a second meeting over Zoom, primarily in person if you can.
Absolutely. So the purpose of a cold call is to get the meeting. Now, Sierra, is the purpose of the cold call to have the meeting and just keep talking and remain in the what zone?
Oh, to remain in the friend zone? No, we're looking to get that second meeting later where we can come and specifically answer questions.
Absolutely. Because if you stay in the friend zone, what are the odds of you doing the brokerage deal? You're probably in the what's called the possibility brokerage range versus the probability, right? And we want to practice probability brokerage, not possibility brokerage. So the purpose of a cold call is to get the meeting, not to have the meeting, right? Not to become their best friend or all these things. It's to get the meeting. Why is that, Brent? Because once we get the meeting, what can we do there? What's the number one, I guess, overall goal there and objective, but what do you mainly want to do once you get the meeting?
So mainly when you get the meeting, well, one of a couple of things. One is you want to build a relationship so they know, like, and trust you. That's like a really key thing. In addition to that, you want to find out their issues, their problems, and if you have a solution to help them, right? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, you got it. Right. So know, like, and trust is really important, right? So you're building a ton of rapport. You're actually really getting to know them, right? Because it's really hard to offer a solution and show up with a proposal or like here's what you have, right? If you haven't done the X-ray of the actual deal, and or if you don't even know them at all, right? Because guess what? It's like showing up to a doctor's office here, right? And you're like, yeah, I like something's hurting somewhere, right? And he's like, okay, I already have it figured out. Well, maybe do an X-ray on that. Maybe do an MRI, right? Maybe do a blood test. Maybe do something there that maybe would take a separate follow-up meeting, right? So essentially what you're going there to do is to get to know the person, and hopefully they're getting to know you, and you're seeing if they have that know, like, and trust factor with building rapport. As well, you're diving into their real needs by asking what kind of questions, Brent?
Open-ended questions primarily. Just a good thing is you want to get as much information from them to understand them as much as possible. You want to do 20% of the talking. You want them to do 80% of the talking, and doing things like mirroring, which is from a book, Never Split the Difference, and Brett Schwartz here, which is when they say something, you say, they say, oh, I have many different properties. Many different properties.
Excellent. That's great. And that's going to do what? It's going to help them open up more about what they're saying. And so, So we keep going. Brittany, you have more thoughts on that?
No, yeah, because then they'll say, yeah, I got one in Redondo Beach, I got one in Newport, I got one in. Oh, really? How many units is that total? Blah, 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 blah. And then you're understanding more of them, and it's an art. It's an art to get information from them without feeling like you're interrogating them.
Absolutely. And the key is you can actually just ask. I was actually doing another a review of the masterclass with Chris Voss, Never Split the Difference, over the weekend. And I probably watched this masterclass maybe 25 times now. Like it's such gold. Okay. And he had another little nuance that I picked up on again. And the nuance was this. He opened up about like, what are you passionate about? So Sierra, here we go. We're going to do this role play right here. Okay. You ready? Sierra, what are you passionate about?
Brett, I gotta ask, are you asking like me as a broker, or you're cold calling me? Like,
no, this is just in general. We're gonna like actually just role play this. Just what Sierra, what are you passionate about? What are you passionate about?
I'm passionate about helping people and about seeing women empowered to come into business.
Helping people?
Mhm. Yeah. I like to identify
Got her.
problems and bring solutions, help people out however I can.
It seems like you like to help people and provide solutions. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I can tell you as a broker, I like talking to people and just hearing about their property and seeing if I identify a problem that they bring to the surface and then bring a solution that I have. So I'm kind of like a connector, bring a solution that I have to them and help them solve it.
It seems like you're a problem solver.
I'd like to say that.
You mentioned women as well. So tell me more about that.
Yeah, so especially being in commercial brokerage, there's not a whole lot of women. So I like seeing women kind of stand up and lean in and feel like they have a place at the table and their voice can be heard. And I love working with other women investors too.
Sounds like you like to empower women and help everyone win.
I do. Yep. I'm working on building a team out right now about that.
Building a team out.
We can keep going like this forever.
Okay, so the point is, right, I'm not asking, like, so Brent said it well, you're not feel like you're interrogating them, right? It feels like you're just inviting them into a conversation, right? And hopefully I was, and we're kind of moving fast here, right? But even my tone of voice, I want to make it curiosity, right? And I want to make it like, it's called like a playful curiosity voice, like, and it's a little bit higher, maybe a little bit higher pitch. It's not as intense, and I tend to be a pretty intense person, so I gotta really reel that back. Now, if you tend to be a less intense type of person, right, then maybe you ratchet up that directness a little bit. But generally speaking, this is it's called playful and inviting and curious, because I really am. Like, if I'm not, you're in the wrong business. Like, if you're not curious about your client and their story and what they're doing and how they're doing it and how they came about and what really drives them, right, then it's going to be very difficult to really help them, right? You've got to figure out where their A is, where they're at now, and what their B is, right? So what are their pains? What are their struggles? What are their challenges? And what are their dreams? What are their aspirations? And hopefully you're also trying to capture the theme of their values and what makes them, passionate and do the things that they do, so that you can figure out if you can even provide something to solve for those things, right? So where we get in trouble is when we go too fast, right? You got to realize that conversations and communications and relationships, it's like a slow cooker, right? It's not an instant microwave. You gotta know that there's parts to this, right? There's parts to these relationships and there's parts to this journey that you're helping them to go on. And so the purpose of the meeting is to build that rapport, and don't move too fast to providing answers, right? It's really about them. And so that means I'm going to pull these things out. So Brent, as I'm pulling these things out, I'm going to say three main things, right? Not only am I going to mirror, right? But I'm also going to say three things that it sounds like. What's the second one?
Feels like.
It feels like.
Or seems like.
And it seems like, right? So I'm going to write it down. It sounds like, it seems like, it feels like. So I might say to Sierra, it feels like you really have a passion for helping commercial real estate owners solve their problems.
I do, yeah.
It seems like maybe growing up or with your background, you help people solve problems. Tell me more about that. What was your background? What brought you to this point?
Yeah, so actually, I was a nurse before, so I've kind of been in the field of helping people, and now this is just a different way of helping people.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a perfect fit for you on a way to help people on a different level, especially with a nurse. What kind of nurse were you?
Emergency,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this seems like you like to help people in an emergency, like maybe like a 1031 exchange that might be failing, or their cash flow is dwindling, or their note's going to be reassessed to a higher interest rate.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Brett. I tell people I like to help at any point of that continuum, whether you're looking to buy, hold, sell, refinance, exit without capital gains, really at any point of the life cycle.
Yeah. Sounds like you're in the right line of work, Sierra, because you can really help a lot of people in a way that they didn't know was possible, and do it also in a caring way where perhaps not a lot of people have that caring touch like a nurse.
Well, thank you.
Okay, good. See, so this is all totally real, and we're role playing this, right? But this is absolutely true, right? These are the things that we're going to help pull out by mirroring. It sounds like, it seems like, it feels like. So, Brent, you want to try this on me or on Lindsay? Let's have Lindsay be Lindsay. You ready? Brent is going to use active listening and negotiation, and we call them negotiation skills, but really it's just connecting with people. You ready, Lindsay?
Yep.
Go, Brent.
Okay, you want me to go on Lindsay? Okay, and is Lindsay a broker or is she just herself? What are we
Just
doing?
herself. Like, what are you passionate
Herself.
about? That's the good way to start out. Like, what is the one thing you're really passionate about? Go ahead, Brent.
Yeah, Lindsay. So tell me, what are you passionate about?
So I'm passionate about creating relationships with people, with friends, family, and with clients. I like to see them grow, take new steps, in their real estate journey as well. So that's what I love about what I do.
Oh, really? On the real estate journey? So you work with agents? Tell me more about that.
So working with clients.
Oh, clients. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So like if they have another child or something and they need a bigger house, or they want to sell an investment and buy something else, or maybe like, for example, I helped my mom buy a house last year. She just recently been divorced. And so that was really impactful for me. To be able to like help people through different transitions in life, whether it's happy or sad or, whatever the need might be.
Wow. It sounds like you've helped people through a lot of different transitions in life.
Yep.
Cool. Well, that's really interesting. So tell me more a little bit about that.
Well, that was my good example. Yeah, I had another friend that they also were not going to be married anymore. So I helped them sell some of their real estate as well and kind of help them move through that piece of it and hopefully made it easier for them. Then I've had other clients and friends that they have more kids and they need a bigger house, or they're relocating back to Chico. And so there's kind of always a story behind it. It's not just like, oh, I need to sell my house, or, oh, I need to buy a house. I like creating relationships with those people and then staying in contact with them and watching their families grow. It's probably my favorite part.
Wow. It sounds like you have developed a lot of personal relationships through your business.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I had one client, and I just randomly invited her to a Bible study that I started. And so we become really good friends. And so, yeah, that's kind of my favorite thing.
Oh, Bible study.
It's women only, sorry.
Oh,
hey, good
darn.
job. We give her an applause here, right? Okay, so it's really just simple active listening. And sometimes we get the meeting and we're so excited just to dive into all of the, the sales comps, the rent comps, the interest rates, the inflation, the economy, the rent control, all of that stuff that we've prepared. And what we don't realize is it can come off as not very know, like, and trust, right? More like the hero is us versus the hero being them, right? And the hero is them. They're the ones who've built the wealth. They're the ones that buy the house. They're the ones trying to have, create an environment for their family to live in a safe place, to invest in that mobile home park, to sell, to retire, like all of those things, right? And so if we just slow down a little bit, and I'm like the guy who like wants to get everything done. So I've like really got to like pull back, right? So if you're anything like me, we want to just take our time and listen, connect, and ask just even one simple question can be like, hey, what are you most passionate about? And it may not be, you may not feel like you can go that personal with somebody right away, but it also could just be, hey, what are you most passionate about real estate investing? What are you most passionate about, for whatever it is that you're trying to do? Like what's behind the motivation, right? Like, what do you, so that it could be that. So although it would be ideal to build something rapport outside of business, right? As much as you can, look for opportunities to build rapport outside of the business and 80% of it, this should be a good goal. You should write this down. 80% should be talking about stuff outside of the business. Only about 20% should be the actual business itself, right? Which might lead to like, well, when do I transition into the business? Well, you'll notice that, right? You'll notice that. And by the way, what kind of personality type is the person? Is the person a driver? Are they analytical? Are they expressive? Are they amiable, right? If they're a driver, they just want to get the facts and they want to just get moving, right? And recognize that. If they're analytical, analyticals, they live to think. They live to think. Drivers, they live to do. Expressives, life is not worth living unless they're talking. Okay. And then amiable folks, life is not worth living unless they're relaxing. Okay. So you also go on to gauge that, and you don't think that this is a one size fits all. This is the general practice of what you should be practicing as you're getting to know people and connect with people. Okay. That's going to invite them into sharing their story, which then can help you help them. So Lindsay, how did it feel when Brent was asking those questions? Any feedback on any of what I just said?
I mean, I thought they were fine questions. Yeah, it's just hard to do with people maybe that you're just meeting or whatever, to kind of try and like break through that barrier with them when like you're, really they're contacting you about real estate or whatever it might be. So it's just a transition, I think.
Yep. And remember, if they do contact you, set the meeting, right? So that you can get face-to-face and get a time together where you could spend, and obviously try to block out an hour, which is great. Also, you want to also know if the decision maker is going to be there. So Brent, we recently had a deal that we're working on together, and talk about how that went and perhaps how it's going and what you tried to implement as far as the strategy.
Yeah, so kind of an older couple own a number of different apartments. I sent out mailers and about a student housing report that I did. And that's when they called me. It was a lead generation like magnet tool. So then they called me. We had an initial conversation. It led to the second meeting, just following this thing. Led to discovery. Tell me about yourself. Tell me, all these different things. Got Brett involved. Brett's excellent at this, and so we were able to talk to them a little bit about taxes, find out a bunch of different stuff about their life, set up a third meeting. Again, more discovery where, Brett suggested a few DST, options. They researched it. They said, hey, we're not going to go that way. But then we met again, talked through it more. And now we're going to meet. Let's see, this is probably my fifth meeting with them. I think Brett, it's your third meeting with them. And it's just trying to understand, where they're coming from, their problems, because we've uncovered their problems, I think, to a degree. We don't know everything, but we know there are certain tax problems, certain goals that they have, and certain issues that they have. We've discovered all that, and we are now providing solutions or trying to suggest solutions to get them in a place where they're overcoming the problems and meeting their goals. And I feel like we have it, but again, it's not telling. It's almost like leading them to discover it themselves in a way.
100%, right? And Brent did a great job of asking open-ended questions, of diving in, and then also it got to the point in the meeting, right, where we weren't quite sure exactly where they were at, right? And this is a good question to write down. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being, not ready to sell, don't have a clear vision for what you want to do with the wealth, and 10 being like, yeah, I'm ready to sell. And if these things were, accomplished, or these things were laid out in a proposal, I'd be willing to sell. Where would you say you're at, right? And Brent did a good job of asking on a scale of 1 to 10, something along those lines. And they were able to give us a little bit of an answer, but more than that, it opened them up for even more information. So Brent, do you remember that moment when that happened?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then they said, I think like a 5. I mean, we eventually got to the point where it was like, they don't want to do the work of a 1031 exchange. They see that there's certain problems that I'm bringing to them. Like there's problems coming. They see that, and then they've gotten to that place where like, okay, we would want to sell, but the taxes, but the 1031 exchange, but we don't want to do the work, but it's a lot, it's stress. We don't want the stress. And then Brett did a great job. You asked him a question. You said something that was amazing. If everything I'm telling you is true about the solution, on a scale from 1 to 10, how serious would you be about executing on it? And they said, if everything you say is true, 10. It was like, oh shoot, let's go. I mean, that was you though. That was you. I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but that was
no. It's a little bit. Yeah, I was in the airport. I was flying back. Like it was kind of wild. At least maybe that was the one, maybe the second meeting. But yeah, the point was you've got to gauge. You got to invite somebody to basically tell you what their objections are, without making it feel really safe, right? Really safe. And so, because some people, they don't, they really care that they don't let the salesperson down, right? But guess what? That's not going to serve them well. And so you've got to create a space and an environment that allows them to, on a scale of 1 to 10, like that's very, it's very precise. And then of course, if what I'm saying is true, and this is called the conditional closing, right? Or it's a way to, I forgot the exact term. I should have it, but essentially assuming we can agree on pricing terms, or assuming everything I just said is true, that could solve the challenges we talked about. And let's write down those challenges, right? As you're talking with somebody, you're going to want on this first listing appointment or this discovery phase of the sales process, you're discovering and you're writing down the problems. Now you're not writing them down to solve them right there. You're actually writing them down there so that you can go back and do a proposal to show them how you're going to solve them. So that meeting is just about discovering those problems. And this is a great time to really mirror. And also, it seems like this is your problem, to make sure that they know that you understand their problem. Because if they don't understand fully that you fully understand their problem, you're really not going to move forward in the relationship for the business. So something along the lines of like this, Brett, love to sell the property, but we just don't want to deal with new toilets, new trash, new liability, new stuff. Like it's actually going really well, but we don't want new stuff. So it sounds like you don't want to start over with new toilets, new trash, and liability. Literally just saying what they just said. And they say, that's right. That's right. Right. And then another one Brent brought up was, well, student housing is, a student population, student enrollment is going down in Chico. And Brent asked them, is this concerning? Does this concern you? Yeah, it does. So it sounds like this does concern you, right? Yes, that's right. It does. Like you literally get, make sure that you're exactly on the same page and they're feeling that, that challenge. Brent, you want to add anything to that?
No, yeah. If they feel understood, it's know, like, and trust. You get me, you understand me. Yeah. The more they say that's right, if they say that's right, bam, like that's big. They say it 3-4 times. That's right. Then you're their head's nodding. You're on the same page. You're
right. And if you're not there yet, then maybe you got to back it up. I was on a cold call today. It's like a follow-up call with the gentleman on the deferred sales trust and estate planning. And he's got big apartment complexes. I've been talking to this family for like 10 years. And, I brought up the deferred sales trust again, of course, right? And I'm like, hey, this is a solution for your guys' estate tax problem because of the exemption numbers. It's 24 million married, 12 million single. And I was kind of gauging his emotional state about his motivation. And I said, look, if you're not there, I totally get it. But if estate tax is a challenge for you or an issue or capital gains tax, or if you were looking to want to maybe increase your cash flow by 50 to 60%, I'd love to have the conversation with you. But if you're not there yet, basically, I'm not ready to make a proposal, right? It's like back to the friend zone thing again, right? You don't want to move to like the dating zone or even the next stage of the relationship if there's no real like romance or like interest. Like it's just not even worth anyone's time or energy, right? So let's make sure on the business side, there's some real pain and there's some real challenges or some real desire of where they're trying to go. And that perhaps now you want to have a proposal to solve that, which leads into the question, assuming we can agree on price and terms, And assuming you actually want to list and sell the property, and we could solve A, B, and C. Remember, you've been writing down these challenges: the 1031 exchange, the capital gains tax, the estate tax, increasing cash flow. They did say we want to make more money and we want to do less work, right, Brent? We want to make more money and we want to do less work. So you can say, hey, assuming we can agree on price and terms, I'd like to put together a proposal for you. And I'd like to specifically in that proposal lay out how we can help you make more money and have less work, right? How we could also increase your cash flow, by the way, eliminate the need for the 1031 exchange. And assuming we can agree on price and terms, and this proposal shows you how we're going to execute this, is there any other reason why you wouldn't allow me to exclusively list the property for you and sell it? And Brent, when you asked that question, what did they say? Do you remember?
They paused. This is going back too. And they said, well, we're talking to other people, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, shoot. I don't even know if
there's someone else trying to get into the date, right? Someone else trying to jump in, man.
Well, because someone else sold them that property not too long ago. And that guy, who shall remain unnamed, is my arch nemesis here in town.
Right. Yeah. And so we already knew that, by the way, of course. You should know, I did
my homework.
You do your homework, right? And so how do we respond? Do you remember, Brent, what you said?
I don't remember. You remember this better than I do.
I think I can remember. So I think it was along the lines of, tell me more, right? Tell me more about that. Basically, like what about that relationship or that agent? Go right at it, right? What about it is really you liked? Like what was it there? What's there exactly, right? Well, and you want to figure that out. Don't assume you know, right? And don't be afraid to say willing to compete. But back to the challenges they have, right? Here are all the challenges. And guess what? They're meeting with you because probably the other person hasn't solved those challenges yet, right? And so assuming, so in this scenario, now I add this as an objective or as an objection that I'm not going to necessarily try to overcome right now. I might give them a little bit, but I might say something along the lines of, oh yeah, no, I know that agent. Part of what separates us is we're hyper local. Like we're in the city in which we're selling. We happen to know this person is a couple hours away. But beyond all that, back to your pain of solving the 1031, solving for this, blah, 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 using the DST as a possible solution, assuming we can agree on price and terms. And I can show you how we can actually be in Brent's pitch, part of his pitch and is offering is a better way to market, right? If I come back with a proposal to show you that, is there any other reason why you wouldn't allow me to exclusively represent you and sell your property? And at that point, they actually I think they said, no, I think they said there's nothing else I could think of.
And I remember what I said too. I said, did this agent bring up any of the things that are going on with Chico State with you? And she was like, no. And I'm like, so I'm the only one that's looking at the market here, thinking about you and delivering you these issues that you didn't even know you had? Yes. Okay. And then I went to the marketing too. And then Brett hit the hyper local. And it was like this bam, 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 a little bit, but we would have never gotten there, unless, hey, on a scale, if we could agree on price and terms, would you go with me exclusively?
And also on the scale of 1 to 10, right? So basically it's like little markers to find out where we're at. And the other thing too, is I was edifying Brent naturally and authentically, right? And Brent was edifying me.
Yes.
So I didn't feel like I had to be my own cheerleader, and Brent didn't feel like he had to be his own cheerleader. In fact, Brent was talking at one point and I jumped in and I just said, hey, here is why you have to hire Brent. Like, hyper local. He's a digital marketing expert. He's on top of student housing. Like, I am edifying and building him up. And so this goes to the team approach as well, right? So when we're going into meetings, it's best I encourage it, come as a team, right? Because we are a team, right? This is part of eXp Mastery, what we're building out across the country. We each bring our skill set, and we're bringing our secrets together, and we're sharing it to build our teams and build our businesses. We're doing those things together, right? So that is the key. By the way, can you hear my kids just having a ball in the background or nothing? Oh, this is good. Okay. I got to tell them to be quiet. These girls are having too much fun. All right. So that being said, that's the training for the day. I want to open it up for questions. First from Lindsay, Pierce, and Edwin, and then we'll circle back with Sierra and Brent. So let's start with Lindsay. Any questions from anything we just talked about right now?
I don't think so. I'm practicing doing more lead gen and reaching out to people that have responded to ads and stuff. So I'm kind of trying to figure out how to better approach that from the conversations I've already had.
Okay, so you're let's put that aside for a second. I'm going to go to Pierce, but we'll come back to that here in a second, Lindsay. Pierce, any questions or thoughts on anything that Brent, I, and Sierra kind of just went through?
No, this has been awesome. If you guys haven't read that book, definitely go read it. It's phenomenal. Can we invite people to this?
Yes.
Right on.
Yes.
Okay, I got people to throw in for next week.
Edwin, you're up.
Yeah, when you're asking these questions, and your different strategy, and they go different ways. How many questions do you have if they answer this way, or if they answer that way? What type of strategy do you have with that?
So instead of thinking of like asking them more questions, think of it more like it seems like, it feels like, it sounds like, and mirroring, right? So the seems like, sounds like, feel like is like the summary of what they're thinking or they're feeling. And you're testing it. It seems like this. It feels like you're thinking this. It sounds like you're concerned with that, right? And it's more of a curiosity. And so the first question you can kind of open up like, hey, what are you most passionate about? Your real estate, or what would you say has been maybe the biggest thing, the biggest challenge that you're facing with your real estate? It could be something along those lines as you're getting into business. And then from there, just allow them to talk, and then you to mirror back what they just said, and or certain words that you pick up on. Like Lindsay said a certain word about, she really feels like connecting with like these families and really solving their problem. And you could say something along the lines of connecting with the family, solving the problem, right? And then it brings me, tons of joy and tons of fulfillment to be able to help these people. And then you go, oh, sounds like you really care for helping people. Like it's literally that way to help them connect with you and you with them. And it has to be authentic, right? And I think we're all genuine, authentic people here, but this is just active listening, and allow them to go with that. And so that objection could be the 1031 exchange, right? Or I don't have the 45-day window, or the 180. I don't want to be under the gun. And you'd say, under the gun? And they say, oh yeah, I was in this property one time, and the listing agent said he'd find me deals, and he sent me some deals, but it's just I ended up not working out. Not working out? Yeah, I went past my 45 days and ended up paying $1 million of tax. Sounds like that was really painful. Yeah, it was extremely painful. Like dig into all of what actually happened and understand it, and then say something along the lines of, it sounds like if you had a plan to not have to go through that pain ever again and have a failed 1031 exchange, that would mean a lot to you. One second, guys. Brent, take this over. I got to tell my kids to be quiet.
All right. Yeah, no, this is super good. Yeah, look, here's what I want to say. When I first started playing basketball, I had to dribble with my left hand. And it was awkward because I didn't do it that much. I always dribble with my right hand. And so this is just like one of those things. The more you do it, the more smooth you're going to get. The more people aren't even going to notice if you're right-handed or left-handed. It's that kind of a thing. Just the more you get on the call, the more you get in these situations, the more you practice this thing, the better you're going to get at it. Brett's better at it because he's done it more. It's just get the reps in, and then you're so smooth. They have no idea. And then you can start doing the behind the back, through the legs. You can start going off here, going off there in the conversation, but it just, you got to get the reps in. That's one thing I would say. Yeah.
I'll add to that.
Yeah.
Also keep in mind that you're in an environment where we're literally talking about it, right? And practicing. Like you're made aware of what's going on, right? When he's like, oh, you have to mirror and label, right? And we're having this conversation all of a sudden, like in this role play, everyone is hyper aware of what's going on in an actual setting. Like that does not happen. because people aren't thinking, oh, like he's mirroring me. They're just thinking, oh, he's connecting with me. He's asking questions and he's letting me talk, and he's just a great conversationalist. So don't let it feel weird like in here, and let it like translate out there, because they're not going to have any idea of what's going on unless they're hyper aware of what's going on, right? They're a salesperson, they've read the book and they're practicing it like there. And then if that's the case, they're going to be doing it to you and you'll pick up on it.
Yeah. And again, this is not like a manipulation thing. This is just, you actually probably already do a lot of this stuff. You're just not even aware you're doing it when you're doing it. Right. And really what it is that you're doing, right? Which is just mirroring and labeling and connecting with people. And by the way, this is why we practice this here, right? This is why we practice it. But I think sometimes we take normal human relationships or just friends and stuff, and you don't realize that, the people that we're calling, they're just our friends too. And if you can think about it, your best clients that you have are probably just like your friends. Right. My best ones they're all just my friends, and I can be completely honest, open, and transparent with them. And so you want to invite them to that story. Brent, you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, 100%. Like, this is just life. This is just, if you're going to meet someone at a party, if you're going to just get to know someone, you have to ask them open-ended questions. Most people don't even know how to talk, and most people don't feel comfortable about, hey, I'm a guy who does blah, 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 and just talk about yourself. They need to be invited into that. And the more you invite people into talking about themselves, the more they actually genuinely like you. This is all of life. When I get home from my day of work, I do this with my family. What's the best part of your day? Open-ended question, right? I want to hear from my kids, all this. And then I say, that sounds like that was rough, or you had a rough day. It just becomes natural. And the more you do it, the better it gets. And actually, it's a blessing to be able to just love people by understanding their life. People like to be known and share their story. And the more you do that, the more better relationships you're going to have in your life generally. And this is just taking it to the business world.
Very well said. Edwin, did we answer your question there? I know we kind of went off a little bit of a tangent there, but does that give you some thing to practice this week?
No, absolutely. Great tips.
Good. Diva, you're here. I see you. I mean, I see the black screen. Do you have any questions or thoughts? And it's okay if you don't. That's cool. You can be hanging out. All right. So now we're going to circle back to Sierra. Sierra, what thoughts, questions do you have on anything we just talked about?
No questions on anything. I think it's really great. I think the role play and the weekly accountability and going over it with each other is really helpful. It gets you in the groove on Monday morning. So really appreciate it. What are we talking about next week, Brett?
So 1 second. We'll come back to that in a minute. Thank you, Sierra. Brent, any questions or thoughts to add?
Just want to say I appreciate you for starting this and implementing it. It's very helpful. Thank you.
Good. And so now you got to practice this stuff, right? So you can practice with your family, with your friends, you can get accountability, cool partner on here, to do this together on. You can, before a big meeting, you can call one of us and do a quick role play, right? So this is like batting practice. This is like shooting practice. This is like all of the things you did in sports. You want to do these things, right? And this was helped get the brain and the blood and everything flowing towards what you're doing, right? So be thinking about that. So, and then, as far as talking next week, we're gonna try to keep building on this, right? So we have the cold call, we have the first listing appointment, we have communication, we have. Oh, let me answer the specific question that Lindsay had. Sorry, Lindsay, come back. Are you there still? Hopefully, she's on mute, maybe, but maybe she's back. She had questions about lead gen and I think calls. What was her question, Sierra? Do you remember?
She's following up with leads that have come in through her ads on their videos. That's what she's focusing on. And so she had a question about that, but I think she's maybe gone.
Diva, you're back, or you're up. At least you're unmuted. Diva, you have something to say? Hi.
Oh yeah, hi. I really appreciate you doing this. This is my first time, so it's pretty cool. I'm just listening in.
Cool. Any questions or thoughts or comments on what we talked about?
I like the role play actually, so maybe next one I'll participate myself.
That sounds good. Lindsay had that question. So Lindsay, when you're back, we'll answer the question, but I'm not sure what it was. Something to do with lead gen. So I think next week, Brent, I know you had another one you wanted us to touch on too. that I told you I'd be getting to. I think it was underwriting. I don't know. What was it?
It was the proposal.
Yeah.
How to do a proposal, which I kind of figured out on my own last, week or two ago with my ugly spreadsheets. But, how to put together a proposal. When you sit there, what do you show? What do you say? Oh, hey, Mr. Seller, I'm at the point where I'm ready to submit my proposal. What does that look like? What are the key components of that?
So we'll cover that next week, but I'll give you just a little bullet points right now. Remember that the proposal, you only want to use it to the extent that you need to use it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the old days, I'd show up with the proposal, right? I'd be like, look at my fancy proposal. I'd be like, there it is. And look at, this is the table of contents.
Nice.
And here's the photos. And
50 pages.
Here's the underwriting. Oh, look what I did. And I did the comps and look at this. Look at this. Okay. So okay, great. So this is a tool. And it's also, by the way, the proposal is all of the work that you did the past 2 weeks or however long it took you, all the hours of research and putting it together so that it's in your brain. So part of it's just doing the homework so that you're actually prepared to solve the problem or propose to solve the problem, right? It's actually X-raying their deal. It's underwriting their property. It's looking for nuances and things that are off, out of whack. Like your vacancy is X, your utilities is Y, your concessions, your debt, all this stuff, right? So you can really actually sell the property, right? Because you understand the numbers, right? It's the bones of the entire deal. Okay, so that means when you actually have the proposal and they do ask a specific question or have a specific objection, right? And you might have the 1, 2, 3 objections already, and this could be maybe a part of your proposal. And you could say, Mr. Seller, you talked about the objection of the 1031 exchange. And let me tell you, I understand what you were saying. As you recall, we talked about the 45-day and the 180 and it being failed. And so you remember you're just kind of resetting what their objection was and their concern was and how it can be stressful and how you had to pay that $1 million of tax. Well, guess what? I did a proposal as a part of that. I just want to show you some quick things here. And this would be the step, step one would be the plan would be you can do a traditional 1031 exchange and we can actually build in extensions for the contract, options for you to extend contract by 30 or 60 days. That's just step one. Step two would be we can do a traditional installment sale. And this traditional installment sale does a couple real benefits for you. It's kind of an option two, or you can build like options, right? Option three could be a deferred sales trust installment sale where you don't have to be tied to the buyer. And basically you're giving pros and cons for their options and you're presenting it as a way for them to execute on that business plan, right? Option one is traditional 1031 with extensions built in. Option two is traditional installment sale, but here are the downsides to that. Option three would be a deferred sales trust installment sale. Option four is a 1031 with the deferred sales trust as a backup plan, right? So this gives you a little bit like kind of a hybrid. And so that in and of itself could be like a page of a proposal, but mostly you're actually talking it out. You never want to just hand them the proposal because the worst thing you can do is have their attention off of you and on this thing that they're looking at now. Okay. And now you're sitting there like this and Brent, you're talking to me and I'm just like, yeah, and what's that? And well, you did a typo there. And you're like, I just completely lost this thing, right? So your proposal is here. It's with you. Hey, I put this thing together and you're going to set it down over here on the side right here. So I'm saying, and we're going to talk. Okay. And we're going to talk and we're going to go through. And as it's warranted, yes, I could pull up my trustee proposal and I could go to this part of the thing and I could walk them through that specific thing like this. Now I'm showing them this and I'm pulling this thing back, right? I made the mistake too early. I'd come in and be like, here's my fancy proposal. It's all shiny. It's all, and I hand it to them. And now they're just like, oh, this is, so does that make sense? Any questions on that?
No.
Okay. Cause you're the expert. Go ahead, Brent. Go ahead.
I think my question was how to put it together in a way that's beautiful. Like I had the data, but they were ugly spreadsheets to be honest, but it made me look like, I'm super smart with the spreadsheets, but still like, I feel like there's a better way.
Yeah, we can do practical. We can do the practical build out. I can show you that. Although there's another one too. There's that you can get. But eXp Commercial has a thing called build out, which is a proposal builder. And we can go through that next week. Lindsay, you're back. Did you have that question that you wanted? You were about to ask, and I told you to put it off about the lead. What was it again, Lindsay?
it wasn't necessarily a question, I guess, but just practicing talking to strangers about real estate. I don't know, it'd be helpful I could talk to Brent too about doing some role playing stuff for that.
So what is your process now? Just real fast. You said you something about you advertisements and you're getting people that are calling in or
About
on a landing page.
Yeah, about a specific listing. And they give their phone number, email. So I call them first. Then some of the people, it was kind of, oh, I don't remember clicking on that ad, like confusion at first. And then no response from other people. And then I did get one person that had some genuine interest. So I've kind of been following up with them, but
well, why don't we role play right now? So like, let's imagine that I was that person, like call me.
Hi, this is Lindsay Porter with eXp Realty in Chico. I was just reaching out to you about your interest in my listing at 13 Portia Court.
Pause. So, do you know my name or is this like a random number?
Yeah, I would say their first name.
So start over, say my first name again.
Hi, Brett. This is Lindsay Porter with eXp Realty in Chico. Just reaching out to you because I saw you had some interest in my listing at 13 Portia Court.
So that's a whole lot. I
Yeah.
like all of the content, but it's long. So let me turn it around. You ready? Ring, ring.
Hello.
Lindsay.
Yes.
Lindsay, hey, my name is Brett Swartz. See how I paused and gave you a chance to breathe a little bit?
Okay.
Did it feel like I knew you maybe?
I guess. I felt
Okay.
confused too, though.
Good. I put you in a state where you're actually listening now. Hey, Lindsay.
Hello.
Hi, Lindsay. My name is Brett Swartz, and I actually saw that you had some interest in a listing that I have. I'm a specialist here in Chico, and you might have clicked on it. And I'm just curious, are you in the market to buy or sell any real estate right now?
Not currently. I was just kind of browsing what's available.
Browsing what's available.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So once you,
I'm going to be selling my house in the spring, but I already have a realtor.
selling in the spring, that's a good time to sell. You already have a realtor?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And the 123 Main Street, and I'll come back to that one, by the way. That 123 Main Street property that I have listed there, is there anything about that caught your eye or your attention?
No, I kind of just clicked on it and by accident.
Oh, by accident. Okay, perfect. So this, I don't
This
think
is what I've been getting. So I'm like, okay, I don't really know what to do with some of these responses.
so by accident. So I don't think anything happens for accident, Lindsay. And I do totally respect if you have that realtor. I have found though for people that if you get a second opinion, it could help you out in regards to what your property is really worth. In fact, the team that I worked with, over 10,000 transactions here in Northern California, we're like some of the best at what we do. Would you at all be curious to know maybe what a second opinion would be for your home?
Sure, I'd be interested.
Excellent. I'm actually going to be in your area tomorrow and Thursday. Maybe just come by. Maybe we can grab coffee at the Starbucks around the corner. If you have some time, how about we meet at 11 a.m. At that Starbucks?
Sure, sounds good.
So, okay. And you made that really easy towards the end, right? But realize that you can lean on what we have, right? We have 10,000 transactions, and that's just between like 4 people. Tom Dave said like 7,000 of them, right? But like, it doesn't matter. It's like that. If you're not willing to meet with any 10,000 transactions, with our team, it's, hey, then you must have an amazing rock star realtor. I totally respect that, right? But don't be afraid to have that ready to go and have the team versus just yourself. Number 2, you see how I said your name and you did feel maybe a little bit awkward because you're like, does this person really know me? Like, do I know this person? Should I know this person? Maybe I should know this person. Maybe they do know me. Maybe I'm the one that should know them, right? So you want to be very inviting and you want to be as if you know them and you want to say their first name and you want to get that pause. And then you want to make the introduction about who you are. And then you want to get right into the why you're calling them. Does that make sense, Lindsay?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to try that again with me?
I think I got it. I just need to practice now.
So why don't you practice right now? Call me.
Okay, I was taking notes. Hold on. Okay. I'm calling you.
Yeah. So just say ring, ring to start it.
Ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Brett.
Yes. Hi.
Hi, Brett. This is Lindsay Porter.
Lindsay Porter. Do we know each other?
We do not. I am a local real estate agent here in Chico, and I saw you had some interest in one of my listings. You may have clicked on it online.
What was the address?
It was at 13 Portia Court, brand new construction house.
I do remember, looking in that area for those types of properties, the brand new construction one. Yeah. Oh, that's your listing.
Correct. Yeah. I was just curious to see if you had questions or if you are in the market to be buying a property.
Yeah, I'm interested in buying a property.
Okay, well, let's meet. Just kidding.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you about buying the property or buying right now?
Yeah.
It could be that one. It could be that one. If you sense they're not really serious, they're just kind of, I'm just clicking around, Hey, I get it. I know some people are just kind of shopping and clicking around. I get it. But on a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you about, buying a property?
So if they're just clicking around, do you kind of just leave it at that, or?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you about it? Engage them, right? And let them tell you, I'm a 2. I'm just clicking around. Hey, that's great. I understand that. You're just probably in the market. See you, Brent. No problem. Is this something where you might be buying in the next 6 to 12 months? Yeah. Excellent.
Okay.
Well, great. I have amazing resources for new deals that we have, and also amazing resources for individuals who are shopping for a property. I'd love to add you to that list with your permission. I promise I won't spam you. I'll just send you some good information and follow up with you in 6 months. Does that seem unreasonable?
Nope.
Perfect. Right. And by the way, I asked a no-oriented question there. A no-oriented question. I didn't ask for a yes. Yes can be very, what's the word? Overcommitting than they want to commit. They don't know what they're getting themselves into. Right. So ask like a no-oriented questions are good ways for people to feel safe, because everyone loves to be able to say no. All right. So that's how I would take that. If they're not really serious, if they're just clicking around, then it's not worth a meeting for sure, right?
Yeah.
Not worth your time. And you're simply going to get them on the list, and you're going to follow up with them in maybe 6 months.
Okay.
But if they do say they have like a 7, 8, or 9, just say, it seems like you're pretty serious about buying a house. Yes. Excellent. I think that's a great reason for us to meet. Do you have do you have time for 30 minutes? Or it's a great opportunity for us to get together. Are you but there's a couple things, because I don't just spend time with folks that are serious about buying. I need to know that they get pre-qualified, they have their down payment, and they're actually ready to go. So is this on a scale of 1 to 10 on those 3 things? How serious, or how where are you on that scale, right? And it's okay if you're not quite there yet. I totally get it. Let them tell you that too. I'm actually pre-qualified. I've actually already have my down payment. I'm actually looking to buy in the next 30 days. Well, this is a great reason for us to meet. I'd like to meet with you tomorrow. If you have some time, I'll be in your area.
Okay.
That'd be my feedback. All right. We've got to go now. We're up against the bottom of the hour. Okay. So come back next week, bring your questions, try the stuff out. Remember, mirror and label, seems like, feels like, sounds like. And let's see how that goes for this week. Remember, the purpose of a cold call is to get the meeting. If you cannot meet in person, get a Zoom meeting, and then try to bring a team member with you so that you can edify one another and you can work together for that meeting. Does that make sense?
Yep. Thanks, Brett.
All right, everybody, have a great week. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.